So in the last episode, we unveiled the velocity flywheel, whereby we were turning dead flow into unstoppable momentum. But how does a giant like Tesla, keep accelerating when the initial push feels immense? And the answer to that is the Inceptive Spark. Like that is an intentional ignition, that creates, momentum multiplier, that fuels the ongoing, innovation in sales and brand power and many ideas. And today, we'll be diving into how Tesla, could use, this exact system to not just grow, but to also, ignite exponential sustaining momentum. So if velocity is Tesla's power in motion, I guess, inceptive marketing is the precise spark, that keeps pushing it faster and faster. Like let's look at this in action. Tesla's success isn't just, technological. The reason why I say this is because when you look at how its growth has been going, or it has been, being cultivated, it it puts you in a position of looking at it whereby you get to see that its momentum is built on a story, on innovation and community, whereby inceptive marketing, is not just about, planting seeds, but it's about planting, ideas that resonate deeply. And, when you look at it, it does not only resonate deeply, but it's more or less like strategic, ignition in terms of actions, that multiply Tesla's reach beyond paid ads and cold sales. Like when you look at their word of mouth, electric domino, like a few passionate early adopters, they spark, excitement with their Model S, for example, and they were sharing like stories and reviews that, got to pull in, thousands of people in. And not only did that work, but also Tesla creates this chain reaction with every new product launch and innovation update. So here's how Tesla, could structure its inceptive marketing to multiply its, velocity flywheel. We have three phases. So the first phase would be to seed, would be planting, revolutionary ideas, whereby since, it shares, visionary content, about the future of, sustainable, driving, energy independence and AI integration. And not just only that, storytelling around, real customer experiences and the impact on, lifestyle and also the planet could be beneficial to the brand. But also again, the engagement of, response between the brand and the audience, with also the concept of using, immersive AR test drives and, interactive, AI demos. That that on its own, could spark something beyond, what, the brand is initially gravitating towards. And the second phase would be to ignite. So normally a person would ask, like, what is to ignite? So to ignite would be to trigger like a massive, a massive, action, whereby they would launch like early exclusive, like early access invites to the next, generation of, their vehicles, or, software update with, limited spots. Like the reason why we say limited spots is because when you think of, limited items, everybody everybody always wants to get their hands on, limited stuff. They can use like influencer, endorsements and community challenges around, sustainability like goals, whereby those influencers are not just gonna only like create more or less an engagement, like a social media buzz, but also like thinking of, the hashtag campaigns like hashtag drive to future and stuff like that. Tesla on its own does have, a great momentum, but with the usage and also the collaboration of other artists, not only will that give them a wider audience in terms of their influencers audience, but also again somebody new, like their own companies release statements, or their campaigns could also be trendings that bring in new audiences. And the third phase would be to multiply, which is to build a self-sustaining ecosystem, like to empower like customers to, become Tesla evangelists, whereby they sharing testimonials, they sharing content also, creating content with, their products, or how Tesla on its own has been a great company. Like the Tesla referral program, not only does it drive new purchases, but it also gives people access, to exclusive, events, which deepen customer brand loyalty. And with every new customer's, enthusiasm, it becomes fuel for the next cycle of growth, whereby they get to have more test drives, more shares, more sales, like on its own. That can be, an a multiplying, self-sustaining ecosystem. So with this concept in mind, like an exponential flywheel, let's look at how, you know Tesla can integrate this into their own like systems, whereby when you really look at Inceptive Marketing, like they can integrate this, using, the Velocity Flywheel, whereby it's no longer about, chasing growth, but it's, igniting a self-sustaining loop. For example, like they would firstly seed visionary ideas, whereby those visionary ideas will ignite, action with, exclusivity and a community. And that community will not only just be, a community, but it will multiply in growth, whereby, through, passionate customers and also referrals, whereby those referrals will act more or less like momentum, whereby the flywheel, will spin faster with every cycle, and it will push, innovation, brand loyalty, and sales to a new height. So this system has, Tesla continually, accelerating, innovation, in terms of sales and momentum, whereby this will be beyond, fixing a problem. It will be, based on creating, unstoppable forward propulsion. So to recap, Tesla's, Inceptive Spark, we spoke about they need to do what? They need to seed ideas, that inspire and educate deeply. And not just only that, those ideas will ignite, action with exclusivity and social proof. And with that in mind, it will cause, a multiplication in terms of growth by turning customers into advocates. And this, my friends, is the ignition system powering Tesla's future momentum. So if you're ready to ignite this flywheel in your business or in your life, like, apply for your free velocity session in the description down below. And don't forget, subscribe and hit that button, for next week's video, whereby I'll be breaking down whereby a viral momentum case study that you don't want to miss.